Hey everyone, we are live with another episode of Couch Talks. I'm on a different couch today, and today we are talking to superstar artist Shaggy, who will be joining us in just a moment. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We are talking to superstar Shaggy in just a few moments. I was just thinking about the first time I ever saw him. Well, the only time I ever saw him in concert, I was like 10, 11 years old down in New York City at Madison Square Garden. It was like the performance of a lifetime. That entire show was just like insane. And I was really thinking about like how many of his songs I would sing just like as a little girl, not even knowing what I was singing about. But I still love the music to this day. And we're going to talk to him about his new album, Hotshot 2020. And we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Hotshot, which was like monumental album in music in general, but especially within the dancehall world. So I'm really excited to talk to him. And yes, Shaggy is the one that sings Angel. He sings It Wasn't Me, Angel, Mr. Boombastic, Oh Carolina, all of it. And he sings that song that's on DKX now, Banana. It's a really fun song. Hi, Anna. So we're just chilling, waiting for him to come in to the live. I was just telling everybody about the only time that I've ever seen him perform live. It was like mind-blowing. I was only 10 or 11 years old, had no business singing along to the songs. But I will never forget it. I was in New York City, Madison Square Garden. It was the most like insane performance I've ever seen in my life. So I'm really excited to talk to him and see what's new in his life, what's been going on during quarantine. Oh, there he goes. All right, y'all. Let's get this. We're waiting for him to come in now.
Yes,
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good morning, morning.
How are you today?
I guess it's afternoon where you are, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Where are you now?
I'm currently in Jamaica.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
I heard rumors that you got stuck up here in New York, so
I
I'm really
was.
happy to
I
hear that you
was.
got back. When did you get back to Jamaica?
I got back probably around 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Oh,
But
that's beautiful.
but prior to that I was stuck in New York. I was on a tour in the UK and with I think Nelly and Eve and a bunch of us, and I literally got back to New York like a day uh before they closed the borders of the UK. And then I was trying to come to Jamaica, but because I was in front of about 20,000 people and doing meet and greets and all of that, I wanted to quarantine myself to make sure that I was clear
Safe.
before I come to Jamaica. And then during that time, they closed the borders of Jamaica, so I couldn't I couldn't
Well,
venture
I'm
in. But
glad you're
finally,
home
yeah, finally
with
it's
your
opened back up.
family.
Yeah, man, much love.
How
Finally
was
it's opened
that
back up.
being in New York? Were you by yourself, or did you have family in
Yeah,
New York too?
no, I was by my staff, but most of my staff wasn't there anyway. A lot of them were, because the early parts of the quarantine and the whole pandemic, everybody was a little bit scared and didn't know what it was about. So everybody
Right.
really stayed away. So I was, for the first couple of weeks, yeah, I was pretty much by myself, and wanted to be like that, because I didn't know what was going on, and
Yeah.
ended up, doing things like getting to more important things in life, like cooking and laundry and stuff
Okay, so
like
what
that.
was your favorite thing that you cooked during quarantine?
Um, I experimented with a lot of things because I used to cook before, and then it's really just brushing up on your skill. I was doing some cool, really good red snapper. I was doing
Mm.
um, you know, like curry chicken was kind of brush up my skills and that also. A lot of
Yep.
breakfast stuff. So
Good.
I was messing with things, because it was right there.
Yeah, I mean, there was really nothing else to do.
Yeah. You have to just kind of just rock with it, and then I started to get really good at it, and found out that I enjoyed it. And
Yeah,
but most of the time, why you don't cook is the fact that you don't have enough time on your hand, and
right.
no, you have the amount of time on your hands, you can just make it
And
happen.
you're discovering all these new hobbies that you love.
Yeah, man.
So, in terms of just being in New York by yourself, there are a lot of people right now that are still separated from loved ones and family. Is there any words of encouragement or advice that you can give to someone that may feel isolated or may just feel like they're just by themselves in this world?
Well, it sucks. Um,
It does.
it sucks to be away from your family.
Yeah.
Um, I think one of the big thing right now, none of this whole pandemic is good for your mental
No.
health at all. I just don't see how it is. It's bad all around. Uh, I'm back with my family, and I can't help but every day trying to fight off depression and just because you're not in your norm. I'm not used to just sitting around and I try to keep myself as busy as possible, but it still weighs in on you. So surround yourself with people who are positive.
Yeah.
Don't watch the news as much. It's not news. It's bad news.
Yeah.
And stay off social media because look for things on social media that makes you laugh. Look for things on YouTube that makes you laugh. Laughter heals and keeps your mind off things. I just try not to get into too much of the deep madness that's going on because then I find myself being a part of the problem.
Yeah. No, that's really good advice.
Yeah,
Just trying to keep your thoughts positive and the people
yeah.
around you positive
I
because
mean,
there's not
I
enough
mean,
negativity happening.
yeah. Well, you can't take your foot off the gas. When you think about Black Lives Matter and all the things that are happening,
Right.
it is important. You can't take your foot off the gas, but just for
No.
your own mental health, you got to take a break from it and take it. Like for me, I take it in doses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because too much of it will just, it will make me self-destruct, and it's not. Yeah, I said 2020 could either be the greatest year ever or the worst year. It started with Kobe, which is pretty
Yeah,
sad,
it's
and
been like
yeah,
one thing after another the
yeah.
whole year.
And with COVID, that showed you that your life could be incredibly perfect, and then right after that, everything just go haywire with
In the
one step
blink
of
of
a
an
finger.
eye.
Yeah, and then of course, you had the COVID, which made you realize to slow down and really kind of smell the roses and take stock of things. And then you had the protest that made you realize that these elected officials are not really in charge. You are. We, the people, are in charge. And we should
Yes.
be focused on that. And so it's been an interesting year. I mean, let's see what it will sum up to be at the end of it.
Yeah, it's it feels like it's been 5 years in the last 7 months. So
Yeah, it's trying times. We're all hoping that it doesn't, spill over into 2021, but
mm-mm.
uh,
I
it's
pray
going to
it
be tough.
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
But just making sure that we keep our thoughts positive and the people around us positive and
Yeah, man.
staying focused on the tasks at hand because there are still things we need to fight.
Yeah,
What are your
absolutely.
opinions on the Black Lives Matter movement?
I think it's very important. I think there's a lot of things going on. When Islam start taking off, Aunt Jemima name, and I
Yeah,
get it, but that's not what
it's
it's
not really
about.
helping.
Yeah,
What's the
that's
problem?
not what it's about. I mean,
Yeah.
let's see what Black Lives Matter is about. Let's break it down. You look at it. We want to know as Black people
Hmm.
that we're not harassed by the cops,
Yeah.
and if we are harassed by the cops, right, and and uh, and and brutalized by the cops, that if we prosecute, we get um, due process.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that they're held accountable.
Yes.
This is what it's about.
Yes.
That's what about. I think taking Aunt Jemima name off. I think it's a deflection
It is.
of what the real cause is. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
And we
It's about
can't get
Breonna.
distracted
It's
right now.
about George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. It's about these people.
Yes.
It's about Black people being harassed by cops. You know, bad cops. Because I'm not going to say it's all cops,
Mm.
but it's just taking advantage of a situation and of their parts and abuse of power.
Yeah. And
And
I'm sure you've seen that in New York too. It's not because New York's been like a huge epicenter for police brutality over the
absolutely,
years.
absolutely. But it's crazy to me to see they just kind of it start going through so many other things that it's really taking the focus off what it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. We have to stay focused
Yeah,
and try to be as positive as possible and all this negativity. But yes, stay focused.
exactly.
What I didn't know, I was reading your bio and I was like telling my dad, I was like, oh my God, did you know this? He's like, of course, everybody knows this about Shaggy. I was like, well, I didn't know that you were in the Marines.
Yeah, I served in the first Gulf War. I was in 510 um, battery, 10th Marines, and I
Oh,
fought in the first Gulf War in Iraq, and we were in Saudi Arabia and went into Iraq. So yeah,
wow.
it's a
Thank
long
you for
time,
your
long time, long
service.
time. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a
How
long time ago.
How was that transition though? Just from being in the Marines and the military, and then being in studio with like some of the biggest names in music. Was it a difficult transition for you?
Well, the thing I was doing music while I was in the Marines. You know, where
Oh, beautiful.
I was doing dancehall music. I used to drive from North Carolina, where I was stationed, to New York every weekend just to do dancehall music and go back. You know, it's 18 hours drive altogether back and forth. You know what I mean? And it was just one of those things that I did. You
Yeah,
know, uh, but people, you know, the military wasn't a bad experience for me. You know, it was tough. I'm not saying it was easy, but I met a lot of good people, and I did a lot of growing up in the military. You know, some people say you go to the military to learn to fire a gun. The streets taught me that. I went to the military to learn how to balance my checkbook,
mm.
and be on time. You know,
Yes.
when I get up and be on time for all my interviews and be on time for everything, and get up at 6 in the morning, and you know doing interviews on other continents.
Yeah.
It was certainly the school that prepared me for this music industry. And
Wow.
because I know I was going to be an underdog, because I was in the genre of reggae, which is not a level playing field, I knew I had to um, be on top of my game,
Yeah.
you know, and the military taught me how to do that, because anything I do in dancehall music, I had to do 10 times better than the average genre. There's no radio or format that supports dancehall music. You know, you have hip hop stations, pop stations, rock stations. Easily, there's no reggae station. It just
Right.
doesn't exist. So, how does a reggae or a dancehall act survive within the mainstream and try to get on people's playlists on mainstream radio?
Yeah.
It's virtually impossible, and we've done it about 5 or 6 times, consistently over the years, and that took me making records that are, when going to the studio, in my mind, I got to make it 10 times better. When I'm promoting, I got to go 10 times harder. When I'm whatever it is I do, I'm walking a tightrope,
Was
because
there ever
I don't have the same leverage
Was there
as
ever
everyone
like a
else.
time though, because reggae and dancehall weren't at the forefront of the music industry, was there ever a time where like labels or reps were trying to push you towards like the trends of what was going on in music?
Well, absolutely. That's been going on my whole career.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, um, you have to be true to yourself and your art, and it takes a lot. And sometimes, when the powers that be have you in a grip and forcing you to do what they want you to do, the universe steps in
Yeah.
and guides you to the right direction. And then there's a documentary out about the making of Was It Me, where the powers that be didn't want us to put that record out,
Hmm.
but then the universe had a whole different plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You just got to
that's that.
trust your intuition.
Yeah, man.
Um, I know you don't have too much time, so I do want to talk about we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of Hotshot.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have Hotshot 2020 that just came out a little over a week ago.
Mhm.
So for me, I have a question in terms of how Hotshot kind of catapulted reggae and dancehall as a genre, and how do you think Hotshot in particular kind of put that trajectory for the genre as a whole?
Well, Hotshot was a monumental album. It was monumental for dancehall. It was the album that brought dancehall, brought numbers to dancehall. It was the album that put dancehall on many platforms, that opened the door to let late major labels start to look at dancehall as a force to be reckoned with. It's what brought Sean Paul and Wayne Wonder and all the other dancehall artists. Hotshot was that. So in celebration of it, they asked me to do a remaster. I didn't feel like I wanted to do a remaster because a lot of these songs were still recurring on radio.
Yeah.
And I decided, so why don't I do a re-record, and try and do it in a more modern feel, because so I experimented with trap and experimented with reggaeton and with hip hop and with dancehall and with Afrobeat and all the stuff, all the genres that the kids are listening to. So I experimented with a lot of those on these new recordings, right? Because a lot of these younger kids were listening and doing TikToks to like It Wasn't Me, and so I wanted them to experience what we experienced back in our day, but in their field, And so I took 5 of the most downloaded tracks from Hotshot, which is Angel, It Wasn't Me, Love Me, Keeping It Real, and Hotshot itself.
Yes.
And I created this, hybrid, so to speak. And I liked how it was coming out, so I added like, I did it to a couple of my older tracks like Mr. Bombastic, Old Carolina, Hey Sexy Lady, and Strength of a Woman. And then, of course, we had Banana that was doing very well, so we threw that on there. And then I wanted to do 4 new tracks also. And, I did Primavera with Sting, another track called Caribbean Plans, and Electric Avenue by Eddie Grant, and Buckingham Palace, and why by Peter Tosh. And why I did all of this, it was just to show you a little bit of the future of what Shaggy. So it's really a celebration of the journey of Shaggy through dancehall, and a little bit of the future of Shaggy. And
yeah, I love
that's
it.
what it is.
Banana is really big here on DKX. You did like a little remix for us with our call letters in it. But I remember when I was a little girl, you had a version of it was called Deo. It was like a Harry Belafonte. It was inspired by him. So how could you compare or contrast Banana versus Deo?
Well, the thing is, in 1996, I did that song over on my Bombastic album. So when Conqueror brought the whole idea to me, I was a little apprehensive in doing it. I love what he did with the lyrics. He made them very tongue-in-cheek, pretty similar to what we did. But I did it back then about talking about dancehall. He did it talking about, the girls in love the banana.
Right.
So his was a little bit more tongue-in-cheek. There were these innuendos that I really thought was clever.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do it because I did it already. And, he was like, yeah, so my manager asked me to why don't I produce the track? So I went ahead and sat with my team, and we came up with the production. Once I started putting the drums to it and catching the feel of it and giving it that real dancehall reggaeton kind of vibe to it, I was like, all right, I dig this. And so I brought it to a friend of mine called Steve Greenberg, who was the head of S-Curve Records, and I said, Steve, I have a perfect record for you, and I gave him the song, and he was responsible for Who Let the Dogs Out, so I felt it was right up his alley.
Yeah.
And he said, yo, Shaggy, I love it. I think it's a #1 record, but I would love you to be on it. And I was like, yeah, I didn't feel like I wanted to do it. But at that point, he was like, yeah, I'm not going to put it out unless you're on it. So I ended up doing it, going on it. And, Conqueror wanted me on it. My manager wanted me on it, and Steve wanted me on it. So that was enough, and it's the best decision I ever made.
Yeah, I'm glad you did it, because you had me, my mom, my nana, 96 years old, dancing in the living room because of that song. So we're glad you put it out.
Well, the thing I like about it the best is the fact that everyone who I've seen doing the banana drop is so happy. It's such smiles on their face. You see families, people of all walks of life, people from every nation, people from different backgrounds, just doing it. And that is our job as entertainers, is to change your mood. We're mood adjusters. We're supposed to put smiles on your face, and make people feel good. And if I'm not doing that, I'm not doing my job. And I don't feel good doing my job unless I see people. Nobody wants to be at a concert and see everybody just moping mad. I mean, everybody wants to see people's hands in the air, screaming, yelling, having a terrific time. And that's what this song did, and that's the main thing about it that I really love.
Oh, I love it. Well, we're happy you made it. I know you have to go, but I do have one more question. Well, two. I'm lying. I've got two more questions. So, out of all the artists that you've worked with in like the 30 years that you've been doing music, who's one artist that just stands out to you that you're like, oh, I just can't wait to get back in the studio with them?
I would have to say two.
Okay.
One is Sting, because it's just incredible fun, and
Yeah, you guys make magic together.
And I learn every day when I'm with him, and I spoke to him last night, and we are going to get back in the studio, so that's just part of it. So, but I can't wait for that to happen.
Yes.
And the other one is Rayvon. I just
Yeah.
think Rayvon and I have magic. We've always had magic, and we just did something for this Christmas album that I'm doing, and I'll we'll continue to make records until forever.
I'd love to hear it. Good. Yes. Those are the classics. I mean, you have most of your like biggest songs with Rayvon. At least from my childhood that I remember.
Yeah, we got a lot of big ones with me and Rayvon. I mean, big up, in the summertime. Angel, these are big records with him. It's always fun.
Oh, I'm excited to see what you guys put out next. And so my final question, because I know you have to go, even though I could talk to you literally all afternoon, is, you did like Little Mermaid Live, which was insane. And then I was watching a Netflix movie and I saw you pop up on there too. So my question for you is, are you kind of like transitioning into acting more so now, or are you just dabbling in both, singing and acting?
I'm an artist, and I'm always fascinated with the arts, and I'm a person that I strive to be comfortable outside my comfort zone.
Good.
I don't think you are striving or making waves unless you're uncomfortable. And it's to try to find a comfort level within that uncomfortable zone,
Yes.
And that's when you're making progress. Something like A Little Mermaid was totally out of my comfort zone. I wasn't even asked to do it. I was told to do it, and I was told that I'm going to do it.
Well, it looked fun.
And yeah, and I went in and I did my thing. It was hard.
Yeah.
I'm not, by no means am I saying it was easy. It was hard, and I've been on stage in front of people all the time. But,
right.
Those songs are not easy songs to learn, and they're very wordy, and singing them it's tough, and you're doing it without a teleprompter, and
right.
It's crazy. So I had to put in the work. I did it. We did great and came off wonderful, and I'm open to a lot more of these things once they come my way.
Yes. Well, we're excited to see you in all different types of facets of artistry.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy that you took the time to talk to us today. We hope once all this madness is over in the world, we can get you back up to Rochester, New York. And...
I always love Rochester. Big up to Willie Daniels. I know that's his place. He's always up there. Rochester is a great reggae audience is always up there.
Yeah, I mean, the station is Jamaican owned, so.
Yes, it's great reggae audience. It's always love when I go there. I've been there with Wayne Wonder. I remember one time Wayne Wonder was there rocking and, brought the house down, and I've had a lot of fun. And so, hopefully when all this madness is over, we can make it up there. And,
yes, let's make it happen for sure. You stay safe. Absolutely. Send my love to your family, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. God
Have
bless.
a good one.
All right.